Hi everyone, it's Sheena from For the Love of Paper. And I actually realized I did not do videos of these two. I might have done this one on TikTok, but not on YouTube. So I'm gonna run a video through so I can get a link and post it to the listing. So these are the two journals. This one is oh, I forget now. It was like 11 by 2, 3, 4. It's got this sorry silk tie around it. It has this little girl. And sorry, silk is threading. A piece of ephemera, and then this pocket. These are just little extra pieces. And then this is the journal itself. It's 2 signatures. This is a old book cover that I used to make the cover, and I wanted it to be layered. It's a bit grungy, so this digital is a collab between Tracy Fox and Jessica Rapp from several years ago. I just have had it printed and never actually used it. So this inside is an old piece of ephemera. I think the date is, well, I don't know, because maybe 1915. Well, that says 53 because this says 1913. So, and I don't even know what they were purchasing. Gas. I don't know. Here's another piece of ephemera with beautiful writing. Vintage document there, or an antique document there. This is a piece of ephemera folded around in this really old cigarette card. I don't know that it has a date on it. I can't tell what the date is. There's dates on here, but I don't know that that's the actual date of this card. Yeah, I can't tell. So anyway, that's tucked on there. This is folded around. This is stenciled paper. This is the digital. Here's 2 pieces of ephemera in here. Again, this is the digital. These front and back pieces are the digital. Here's some old book page. Digital book page. Some pieces of ephemera tucked in there. Digital. This is a piece of William Morris type paper. I did put a piece of what is that called? Like swatches there. This is the page from the Reminiscence books. There's like a series of them. The rest of it. It's a Reminiscence book full of paper. This is a piece here. Again, there's a lot of bugs on these papers, so I did a bit of a Tim Holtz theme. There's some pieces of ephemera there. There's the digital. Some pieces of ephemera tucked in there. So there's like 4 pieces. Yep. Tucked in there, some old and new. Book page, digital. This folds out. There's this piece of book page with some birds on it there. The digital. So it's mushrooms, flowers, butterflies, vegetables. I put in a tag that I made. Digital. This is just a little bit I collaged on because the other side was white. There's this piece of antique ephemera from the front. Then there's this one. I did this direction so you could see the seal, but it was like when I printed it or typed it, they did it upside down. So that's just like part of it. but that's a really old piece as well. There's a little bit of stenciling on that, so you can still write on it, but it's not a start page. Old book page. This is a piece of paper that I, let me see if, I embossed it. And then there's some Tim Holtz people here. And then on this side, this actually wraps around. Come on. That wraps around there. And then there's this piece of ephemera here. And that vintage photo piece of ephemera. So they all just clip on there. This is an actual old vintage photo. There's no date on it, but you can tell from the back of it, it's pretty old. It's clipped on there. This side, there's a couple pieces of ephemera. There's the no, this is another page of a reminiscence book, but I thought it matched well with the theme. This is digital. There's some bugs I added in. This is Pepin Press, like wrapping paper. 2 pieces of ephemera there. Some ledger. Old page from a Farmer's Almanac. This is just some painted paper. I love the color with these butterflies. This is the center of the second signature. So there's a tab on that. It opens up. There's a pocket here with some pieces of ephemera in it. Some of them are Tim Holtz journaling cards. Here's the front of that Farmer's Almanac. So it's from 1965. Lancaster, PA. Here's just a little tag that can be decorated. So that's tucked in there. It's like a little marble tag. And then we're coming to the back. This I just collaged on. Here's that other piece of ephemera from the front. There you can see, I don't know what year that is, because it's in a different language. And that's the back of it. So there is a total of 13 pages in the first signature, 14 pages in the second signature. That's 27 total pages with 108 services. So that is this journal. And it is already listed. I'm just got to get a link so I can attach it to the listing. And anybody who's interested can look at it. So there's that one. It's this one. Again, it has 108 total services, and you saw there's bunches of ephemera in there. This one, I put this accidentally in a knot whenever I was taking photos of it, or counting the papers, one of the two. So this is just a tie around it with this old like vintage button. I love the color of it. It's got antique frilly lace that I sewed on the front and the back. This digital is from Ruby and Pearl, and it's called Wildflowers. And this one is 5 by, the journal itself is like 3.5-ish, but then obviously it's wider with the lace. So that's the front and back. There are 30 pages. This is one signature, 30 pages, so 120 surfaces in this little stinker. So some vintage or antique ephemeras in here, book page. There's a little piece of ephemera I made there, some floral paper, some vintage antique tiny ledgers. That's the digital. That's a piece of, looks like July 2nd of 1923. Beautiful handwriting there. Book page. This is actually a replica. Yeah, this one's a replica of a check. This one is a digital. No, lie. This is true. It's just tucked up, but it's like a clothy type paper with beautiful writing. And then these things are just some of pieces of ephemera are just tucked in there. It's really pretty paper. There's a digital. This is an actual piece of vintage ephemera. This is a piece of vintage, I'm saying vintage, antique. It would be antique. These last two for sure. The digital, here's another piece, 1981 maybe. Antique document. This is an old calendar, old book page of music with some ephemera tucked in there. Some floral paper. This is an old, I'm thinking that's a letter. Again, beautiful handwriting. Digital, floral paper, really old piece of book page from a stamp book. Here's another 1882 piece of ephemera. This is a fly page from a shorthand book. Here's digital, really old book page there, an old piece of ephemera. Here's another really old piece of antique document on some grid paper. And then this side could be wrote on. Here's more digital. This is the center. So now we're going back the other way. Just yummy pieces. And there's plenty of room in here to write on. Look at that. An oil company. Oilcloths, mattings, carpets. There's that stamp page. Yeah. So just cute. This one's folded in. There's the other side of that letter. Yeah, there's a couple pieces of ephemera paper clipped in there. In here as well. San Francisco Municipal Railway ticket. Doesn't have a date on it. There's the back. Oh, look at that. Isn't that delicious? It's like I'm assuming it was probably blue considering the time period, but it almost looks purple to me, the ink. And here we're finishing it out. The other side. This is that other big piece. Well, it's that old piece that's just tucked with some things in there. You can see that handwriting. I can't read what it is. Sometimes I can tell. Balance. This looks like names. And then look at those numbers on the back of that. Looks like my Pap's handwriting. All right, coming to the end here. So it's a little mini, very chunky with 120 surfaces in this little baby and a lot of antique pieces. So this just goes on here. Wraps around. This wraps around this way. And then it just gets tied into like a little bow. Like that. Let's pull it down a little bit. So it's a little bit lower. And there's obviously some of the pieces in there I put some sari silk on as well, so there's pieces hanging out the top. But that's this little chunky baby. So 5x4, 30 pages, 120 services, and a lot of old pieces in there. So that will give me links to put in the listings, but they are already listed on Etsy for the Love of Paper Co. And I hope you have a good evening. Bye.